At the age of 9, my parents break up, so that was a big thing. My dad leaves the house. At the age of 12, my dad came back and said, listen, I'm moving away to Canada. I want you to come with me. I've learned English and became one of the top students first year. And that's the beginning of the mindset that defined me until this day. A lot of racism, a lot of bias, a lot of pain that came with it. Like a master degree, I wasn't successful. Broke up with a girlfriend, lost the house at that point in time, lost one of my best friends, and one thing led to another. So I've kind of, oh my God, failing in everything. I was in a dark place. I was depressed. Things were not working out. At some point, I'm kind of hit rock bottom, and it was either, I don't know, potentially prison or all sorts of stuff, or break away and have a clean start. But that was the moment that I've decided that my life has to change, and this is the way I'm going to change it. But the mindset and the resilience were there, so they kind of dictated my steps, and obviously coming back home, I'm going to be the best in whatever I do, even at the chicken counter. I'm going to be the best chicken counter boy ever. It's the mindset that defines you. It's the mindset will help you conquer the world. This is it. You will find a way. It's the goddamn mindset, that you need to equip yourself in order to make it in this life.
I believe everyone has a story to tell. Through seeking true, authentic insights about the entrepreneurial journey, I provide a platform for our peers to share their stories and inspire those that listen. This is the County Business Talks podcast, produced by H2 Productions. Okay, welcome to another episode of the podcast. My guest this week is an entrepreneur that spins more plates than me. He is someone I have had the pleasure to get to know over the last few months, and his energy, enthusiasm and positive attitude is infectious. He's the co-founder and managing director at Little Jasmine Therapies Ltd, Axiom Brighton Limited, the Right People Ltd, and the fabulous Greek restaurant in Hove, Nostos, which I've eaten at maybe once or twice. I'm delighted to welcome my good friend, Kyriakos Baxevanis. How are you, sir?
Hey, Sam. About time. Mate,
listen, buzzing. I know. Look, that first conversation we had when we were sitting in the restaurant and we was chatting, and you was telling me about your story and your journey, and I was like, mate, we've got to make this happen. We've got to get you on the podcast. Here we are. So, mate,
absolutely.
I'm buzzing to have you on. Look, we're going to, as always, just going to jump straight in.
Yeah.
So let's tell listeners your story. Just tell us a little bit about what life was like growing up, and something about your upbringing that's shaped who you are today.
Sure. Shall I go to the dark stuff or just skim through the surface?
Of course. Go straight in. We go dark.
That's
we go deep.
Deep dive, eh? Hey. So I grew up in Thessaloniki, Greece. That's in the northern part of Greece. It's a port. So by default, it's a very interesting place.
Yeah.
Incoming, outgoing, so forth. It's about 1.5 million. It's a lovely city, very competitive with Athens. We're like a capital of Greece. Yeah. So this is the environment that I'm sort of growing up. I'm a big fan of PAOK. I don't know if there's crazy fans there. We have the most amazing football team, PAOK. Black and white, crazy people out there, and my house is situated very close to the stadium. So I'm kind of growing up in this sort of vibe every weekend of games being played, next door. So I grew up in Thessaloniki. At the age of 9, my parents break up, so that was a big thing. My dad leaves the house, and it was for the better. I think he wasn't looking good, and I think it was for the better. And then I've moved with my brothers and sisters and my mum, and lived with my grandfathers and grandmother for the next few years. So that was a big shock to the system, I have to say. It kind of took me by surprise. It happened within a 6-month period, and I think I'm still carrying the trauma of that breakup and not having a father figure moving forward.
Did you not have a relationship with your father after he left? Or?
Well, we did, but he was always sort of, he was there, he was around, but absent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Not sort of engaging with whatever was happening. So that was a big thing, but I was very lucky because my grandfather stepped in. A guy who lived most of his life in Germany, 25 years being working in German factories. He just moved back to Greece. He opened his arms and his house to my family, obviously his daughter. But he took us in. That was a big thing, man. He became my father figure when my dad was absent. So that was amazing. So over the next few years, I've kind of grew up alongside my grandfather, my rest of my family, and then at the age of 12, my dad came back and said, "Listen, I'm moving away to Canada. I want you to come with me." Spoke to my mom. My mom agreed. I think this is a great opportunity. And then at the age of 12, I moved to Canada without knowing pretty much any English whatsoever. So we moved to Edmonton, Canada, and I went to start going to school.
Just you and your dad?
Just me and my dad, man. I mean, away from family. I mean, I was still longing at that point for that relationship with my father. I was still like, hey, I want my dad back. I was still hoping. And I would do anything to spend time with him. So I've left the rest of my family. I left my mom, my sister, my brother, and moved to Canada for a couple of years, 2.5 years. Went to school there, did exceptionally well. I've learned English and became one of the top students first year. And that's the beginning of the mindset that defined me until this day.
Really?
Absolutely, mate. Being there, evolving, adapting. I mean...
Because at 12 years old, my brother moved to Australia, took his kids similar, they was 12, 8 and 4, so they've gone over there, but speak English. It's an English-speaking country, but still an upbringing, a change for them at a sort of young age, but they flourish hopefully. But to be taken out of your environment, completely different culture, completely different language, and having to be thrown into that, it's a massive learning curve in a short space of time, I guess. But you embraced that at 12.
I did. And that was the secret. I didn't shy away from it. I tackled it like straight up. I mean, that was going to be my... I did really well. And a lot of racism, a lot of bias, a lot of pain that came with it.
Bullying in that sense,
absolutely, mate.
Through the school period.
Kids are the worst sometimes in terms of being mean and all that. I'm sure they didn't mean it or whatever, the families, but I did go through a lot. But it became my strength instead of my weakness. That's why I said, it kind of set me up for life in terms of mindset and resilience.
Because that's it. I just want to touch, I guess, on that, because listening to your story before and speaking to you a little bit about business side of stuff and that resilience, and knowing that that's coming from take me back to that point though of being 12. Was it the fact of, I guess, just being there with your dad and obviously not having your siblings around you as well and your mum to be there, that you want to get that bond back with your dad and you want to prove to him I can survive? Is there something in that, or?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it became a challenge. It became a goal. And the realization that I'm standing on my own 2 feet. My dad was at work, didn't speak any English whatsoever. I mean, it was minimum. And I became, the person in charge of the household at age 12, right? That kind of, works miracles in your head in terms of responsibility, what you need to do, how you need to do it. You kind of grow up very, very quickly. I'm not saying I've missed part of my childhood. I mean, I still remember the whole experience as a good experience for me. And I do believe, that any experience, even bad experiences, we deem them as bad experiences. There's a learning there. There's an insight that you might not be privy to it at that point in time, but there are realizations further down the line. And, I'm not going to hide, I've done a lot of therapy further down in my life as well. And these things kind of unlocked for me. I'll be able to realize what I've actually gained through going through these experiences. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. It was hard, but I wouldn't have changed that. It's part of my story.
Yeah, sure. And then what? So you was there for 2.5 years. What made you come back, or what was the?
We got they told us we need to go. My dad did a stupid thing. He kind of got another job, and immigration rules there are fairly strict. So he got another job. I mean, he's a hard worker. I mean, if anything, this guy kind of worked his ass off. He provided. He was a provider. He's a good guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good guy. I mean, just absent emotionally. I mean, and he got another job to make more money, support the family, support myself, my education, and he got caught, and they kind of threw us out of the country.
Oh, wow,
that's it. So I had to go.
And you come back to Greece then?
That's it. 2.5 years after, I was going to have to reintroduce myself into the educational system, pick up where I left, and I've struggled, but I did eventually. Caught up with everyone else. I did graduate my high school at that point in time. But that experience set me up for the next steps in my life, because I wanted to come to the UK and study. I didn't want to stay home now. The bug was in me. The worm was turning. I thought, right, I mean, I'm not staying in Greece, man. I'm doing something else. So that was part of my motivation to get out and explore the world, because I've done it already. I mean, I was there doing it. I want more.
So you've I guess that's it. Like you say, from a young age, you've embraced that opportunity for whatever reason. Like you said, for whether it new experience or actually I just want to be with my dad, so I'm going to just take that experience, and you take what you have. But it's like you said, getting yourself out of that mindset, out into a different culture, and being able to embrace it and be able to thrive as well. Because especially like you say, from the bullying side of stuff, and how that you had to fight and struggle through that period, I guess, makes you stronger, builds you, and then you come up and then to go on and take on challenges and go to other countries and then learn. So how long was it you then back in Greece before you talk to me about?
So I came back at age 15, 16, I think. So I spent another 3 or 3.5, 4 years, I think, in Greece. Although I've decided to come out to the UK to study. So I've told my mum, listen, I mean, that's what I want to do.
Sure.
Can you support me? She said yes. I spoke to my dad, can you support me? So they both, I had to put them in the same room and agree that they're going to help me study in the UK. Age 19, embarking on my studies in the UK. So 4 years after Canada, in Greece, and then out again in the UK to do a bachelor's degree, Kingston University. Economics, by the way.
Wow. And so with the studying and stuff, what was your ambitions as a youngster? What did you have a vision of doing? What did you want to be? Was there an entrepreneurial thing? Did I want to run my own business, or was it I just want to?
It's a really funny story, man. I mean, we went to that sort of educational, the guys that are the gatekeepers for UK universities, and I've sat in a room with a guy in front of me, and he said, right, what do you want to study, IT or economics? So that was it, mate.
I said, two options.
That's it, IT or economics. These were the most popular subjects at that point in time, and there was a market for it in Greece as well. I said, economics. And that was it. So I don't think there was any greater plan, any great vision there. It was just a guy asking me, me giving an answer, half answer probably.
But did you have a view after studying? Did you have a view of what you wanted to get into, what type of job role, or what was your?
Sure. So the vision kind of developed slowly, steadily. Seeing things out there, just. Influencing my thinking, and then slowly, steadily, I wanted to do something on my own. As every Greek, I mean, you're part Greek as well. Sure. That we are. entrepreneurs by nature. We're travelers. We are people who leave their country, and it's been happening for hundreds of years, migrating left, center, and right, and starting businesses. So I think the ambition was always inside of me, within my DNA, coded. It was just a matter of finding the right opportunity. At that point in time, doing an economics degree in Kingston University, all I wanted is at some point to work for a big company, business related. I wasn't thinking of doing something on my own, but I think that vision, as I said, kind of developed slowly, steadily, as things progressed. And it was my second time in the UK. That's where my journey, when I did my public speaking at the Acumen, that's where I've started. It was my second time in the UK, coming to Brighton, working for American Express. That's when the whole thing kind of happened.
Yeah, sure. So after studying, you then went back to Greece.
I did again, back to Greece. Back-to-back changes. I can't stay still.
Country. Well,
I know. I had a relationship and for 5 years, so I wanted to go back to my girlfriend. I was seeing the future was with her at that point in time, so I wanted to go back, and I did. Within a year's time, we broke up, by the way. Wow. Such is life. I did my army thing for a year, and then started doing all sorts of jobs. Moved out of the house. Started doing well, considerably well. But it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. So I was doing things, left, center, and right. I was trying to get into the Greek university to do an MB, like a master degree. I wasn't successful. Broke up with a girlfriend, lost the house at that point in time, lost one of my best friends, and one thing led to another. So I've kind of, oh my God, failing in everything. I've just finished my degree 3 years ago. I'm 27. It's getting late now. I need to do something. I need to do something out of the box. I need to reconfigure kind of my situation. So I thought, right, let's call up my friend, Mike. Whereabouts are you, mate? Brighton. Brighton where? Where's that? Well, look it up, and you know the rest.
And then you come in. But so let's just, before we come for you coming over here, just talk to me about that period then of your life. Obviously, where's your mindset at? Almost going bankrupt. I guess like you said, losing the house and partner and a close friend. You're in that position. Where's your mindset at that point? Again, I guess we're going back to the 12-year-old, the resilience and the fight that you brought up, that you take some of those skills there, but just talk to me about where your head was at.
Not in a very conscious way.
No, sure.
But absolutely, kind of now that I've had the time to reflect and go back on that, oh my God, instincts kind of kicked in and said, right, this is not the right place for you. You need to make a significant change in your life and reconfigure your situation. I was in a dark place.
Really?
I was depressed. Things were not working out. Nothing was working out. So I went to this sort of negative cycle of depression and doing other things as well. It was horrible. So I could, at some point, I'm kind of hit rock bottom, and it was either, I don't know, potentially prison or or all sorts of stuff, or break away and have a clean start and try things out. And I chose the latter. I chose to move away from Greece at that point in time. It was toxic for me. It was a very toxic environment.
In what sense? Because of the people that you surrounded yourself with, or because of the position that you was in, or for whatever reason you'd got in that position from losing the house, etc., etc. Was it that?
Yeah, I think it was the cumulative effect of everything. Losing a house in itself might not be something that brings you to that stage, but losing a girlfriend, losing a best friend, losing your house, your job, not being able to get to whatever university or hit a goal, 27 years old. I mean, it's not, you're not old by any means, but, I had this thing in my head, I guess, that I need to be hitting this target, these goals. I need to be somewhere doing something by 27, and that wasn't materializing. And I could see that the building blocks were not there. So I think the instincts kicked in and I said, right, you need to do something big. You need to leave your family, move away, get yourself in another environment that will help you switch that back, find your way, see the trajectory in a sense.
Sure.
And I wasn't seeing it in Greece. So
but who was putting up, you get to 27 and who, you say about, I hadn't got to where I wasn't in a position that I wanted to be or whatever, but was that the goals that you'd set yourself? Was it what society says that where we should be, and where there's a path that society suggests that we should take, and we should be at this stage at this point, and this stage at this point you should have this and this and this and all these external facts, and that's what we should be doing. And when we don't maybe live a life exactly like that, and you break the normal. So was it yourself? Was it society? Was it people around you, or all of them that where you looked at it and gone, oh, I've not reached this, I've not reached that goal?
It's a system, right? I mean, it's not just absolutely internally inside of me. I was feeling that you're a failure at this point in time. You're not doing anything that will put you in a position of success further down the line. There's nothing here to take that will set you up for that next step in your life. People around me, absolutely. I was getting banged by family. I was getting banged by friends, and that wasn't working out as well. So I think it's a combination of expectations, absolutely, but also personal expectations as well. And both of them were pointing towards failure, and it wasn't happening. So I had to reinvent.
Can you pinpoint that moment then because especially when you're in a bit of a dark place,
yes,
and you feel like the messages you're telling yourself, the messages from other people is I'm a failure and I've not succeeded, and things are not going well. Where does that shift come in, and how do you go, I'm going to lift myself above that parapet. I'm not going to allow that to be this is not going to be my story. I'm going to change that.
Jesus, man, I remember the moment.
Really?
I remember the moment. It's just, and I always remember, it's not just, I remember the moment that kind of clicked inside my head. I went back home. I had to find somewhere to stay, and I went back to my family house, sharing a room with my brother at age 27, and sitting at bed at night, trying to think things through, and then it kind of hit me. You're moving away. And it came to me so clear, so crisp. And that was it. That was the beginning of everything. I mean, my further life kind of moving forward. But that was it. That was the moment that I decided to move away. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I was going out to Brighton, to the UK to do further studying and trying to find a job. But that was the moment that I've decided that my life has to change, and this is the way I'm going to change it, move out.
Love that. Because I am a strong believer that, and whether people agree or not, but I am a strong believer is actually we do have a choice, don't we, at how we choose to move forward, how we choose to look at certain things. And people can be in like really dark places, but obviously, I'm not saying it from a mental health point of view, mental health aside, I guess, but just in life, we do have choices and the paths that we decide to take, and actually making that choice. You made a choice, an active choice to go, I'm not, my life could be going in one direction. I've got to take the responsibility, and I've got to be accountable to change that direction and make a choice to make a different thing. Absolutely.
Not in so many words, potentially at that point in time.
Yeah, sure.
But absolutely, mate, it kind of hit me over the head. That listen, it was probably more instinct rather than logical.
Sure.
Because don't forget, I finished my first degree, came away from the UK, hating it. I don't want to go back there.
Why did you?
Because I had my girlfriend back home,
Sure,
my family was, so I kind of hated it my first year, 96, 99, living in London. I've kind of, oh my God, never going back. So it wasn't like, oh, I had a good experience and I'm going back there. that wasn't there.
Yeah, sure.
It was I think it was pure instinct, a little bit of logic as well, but I think it was instinct, and that's why, again, it kind of sets me up, to trust my gut feeling from that point onwards. Trust yourself, even if it doesn't make logical sense, if it doesn't make sense in that sort of level. Trust yourself, move forward, and that is so powerful, Sam. That is so powerful, mate.
It's such a brilliant thing for any listeners to take away, actually, that especially when you can relate it to business as well, and we all have to make big decisions in business, and a lot of the time, but in life in general, I think actually this is in life in general, that gut feeling, don't be too quick to ignore that, because 99% of the time that's probably the right thing.
I'm telling you, amen. Amen. I mean, this is the way.
So then, you're on the phone. You spoke to Mike. You've come over. You're in Brighton now.
I'm in Brighton, yeah.
And what's the plan now? Where do you...
Jesus, man. Double glazing units, door to door.
Wow.
On raining day. I mean, it was Sainsbury's, chicken counter, all sorts of jobs. The first couple of months was crazy. Sleeping at Mike's room on the floor, had a mat. I was sleeping there. I mean, he was having enough of me. By the month's time, after about 4 weeks, he would start, giving me clues. Right, if this doesn't work out, what are your next steps? Yeah. So I was getting there, ready to be kicked out of his room. I mean, sleeping in the same room, obviously. So that was hard. That was difficult, man. The first few months was very hard.
But did you come to the UK? Going from the position you was in Greece, knowing I've got to make a change, did you come to the UK full of optimism and excitement, or was you more nervous, worried? Where was your head at that point?
A bit of both. I think absolutely. I mean, I was still reeling from whatever was happening to me back, but I had to clear my head. I had to be in a healthy space in my head to be able to define my next steps. So I think it was just escaping my old self or my situation or whatever, putting physical distance between that life and a new life, and it did the trick. All these experiences, although very hard and difficult, going through all these jobs and in general being pushed away, the environment itself. I mean, you move into a country again, obviously you will face a bit of bias, a bit of this, a bit of that. My English kind of, again, because I was in Greece for 4 years, we're not up to scratch, an accent, so on and so forth. So it wasn't very easy at the beginning, again. But the mindset and the resilience were there, so they kind of dictated my steps, and obviously coming back home, I'm going to be the best in whatever I do, even at the chicken counter. I'm going to be the best chicken counter boy ever, and I've done that. So that sort of instincts and experiences from previous sets, from Canada, from Greece, they're coming up, and they're kind of helping me, guide me, through the next steps in the UK. So all that helped me define my next steps, find my way through.
It's amazing. I love that, again, for people to take away, actually, that no matter where you are on your journey, that level of going, whatever it is I'm doing, I will do to the best of my ability, no matter what it is.
Exactly.
Chicken counter or running multiple businesses, whatever it is I'm doing, because then that puts you in such good stead, especially when it comes to running a business.
Agreed.
As we spoke about briefly offline, about little things. I'm going to go the extra mile. My business is going to be the best business it can possibly be, and I'm going to do this because I will go above and beyond to make sure that it gets there. And the same. That's such a huge lesson for anyone listening on their journey of where they are. That no matter where you are right now, where you could potentially be, as long as what you're doing at this moment in time is the best that you can possibly do.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's the mindset. Technical skills come and go. I mean, you might learn some stuff, you will enhance yourself at another line, whatever. It's the mindset that defines you. It's the mindset will help you conquer the world. This is it. You will find a way. It's the goddamn mindset, that you need to equip yourself in order to make it in this life. I mean, whatever success looks like, and each person has its own definition of success. But it's the mindset. Always invest in yourself, grow yourself.
And I'm interested to talk about that about growing yourself, and obviously from an education point of view. So where on that path where you are now, and then you went to Amex as well, but you studied further around that point as well, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. Just before that, I've got a job, and that allowed me to get a loan from Barclays and walk in Brighton University and say I want to do an MBA. And after a couple of interviews, they've accepted me. So part-time MBA, full-time work for the next couple of years. And I got my MBA at the end of that. And on the back of that is American Express came knocking on my door, saying, would you like a job? Which I did accept gladly. So here I am, 2 years, over 2 years, out of the danger zone, from Greece and that sort of depression and all that, and working for a blue chip company at a good position. And having my MBA. So I kind of felt the success, I'm achieving my goals. I'm setting myself. I've talked about building blocks. I'm putting the building blocks together now. So,
and was that, and that point of, because obviously, because we're going to go on to your further journey and then you obviously then didn't stop at that. You get to American Express and you are, let's just take a moment, I guess, to look at being in Greece and almost being, bankrupt, losing everything, a broken person in a dark place, as you've alluded to coming to the UK, chicken shops and sleeping on someone's floor, to then doing an MBA. And then starting at a blue chip company. Do you get to that point and you go, do you take a moment? Did you take a moment to go, wow, how far I've come, and I've not to go, I've made it, but I'm in a great position.
I did. It was like, patting myself on the back. Yeah. Mum, I made it.
Yeah.
You're proud of me.
Yeah. but I think because it's so much to life that we don't always do that. We don't always take that moment to actually recognise and stop and go, look how far I've come, and look where I am, and especially from a place where you were to achieve that. And it's so, I think that's such an important message to try and get across to why you're building these blocks, whatever them blocks look like. Again, and we're touching it later, from success and what that looks like to different people. Wherever you are on those building blocks in that journey, to just actually take moments to appreciate where you are, even if it is still tough and there is still things that are not quite right, and especially when you're in business and things go wrong and pandemics and all sorts of things like that. But those stuff, just to actually go, look where I am right now, and just appreciate their moments. It's a key message.
100%, absolutely key message. Appreciate each and every moment, success or failure, something to teach you. And I didn't appreciate for a couple of years. I was just appreciating.
Yeah, mate.
It was good fun. I couldn't believe it. I was going to the office, me, Kyriakos, working for one of the best companies in the world. A lot of the listeners out there, might be listening. Hey, so what? He worked for a company. For me, it was a big thing. Yeah. It was, it was one of my dreams. One of my goals. To work for a big company, such as Americans, well respected, and interacting with very intelligent people, very creative people. It was just one of the best things that could happen to me at age 29, 30, whatever I was at that point in time. It was just lovely, motivated, very, very motivated. And that kind of led me to, next steps sort of in my life, in the next part of my life. But it was such a sweet moment, I have to say.
And the other thing I just want to touch on as well is the education piece for you. Obviously, you're a fan of education and education, and I'm definitely a fan of learning and constantly learning.
Yes.
I think at 44, what I am now, still every day that this is my education. Speaking to people like you, I've been on an amazing journey, nearly 90 episodes of talking to incredible people
Yes.
and learning from them. So I'm constantly trying to learn and read and stuff like that. But for you, the education system, I guess, here has really worked, I guess, for you in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The MBA, that full-time work, part-time MBA. At some point, I've quit my job as well, and I've turned into a full-time MBA the last year, just to finalize everything. It was more than just educating myself through the formal structures of university.
Sure.
It was over and above.
Yeah.
I built on resilience. I started doing meditation. I've building all this amazing internal tool case of sorts, on my own. I've got my own little flat. I'm paying £600 and I'm making £1,200. I've got no money whatsoever, but I'm building, educating, learning over and above the MBA. The MBA was the pretext, it was good to have, don't get me wrong. But lifelong learning is a much wider thing. As you've just described, learning is happening on a day-to-day basis. It's just being receptive and open enough to get the lessons, and prescribe in your head and use them. So learning is a much wider exercise. MBA, university, that doesn't matter. I needed the MBA to get inside American Express. I've done that. The MBA wasn't the goal. The goal is to open up my mindset. I've told you before. It's all about mindset.
See that's I love that, because I often talk on here about education, because I didn't do terrible education, and I've done okay, but a few GCSEs and failed my A levels. But I do look at it. I do feel that it's an archaic way of learning, and I do think you're right. Actually, that for me, listening to you talk and how you've just described it, that's a stepping stone. That was just a stepping stone for you to go, look, because ultimately your mindset is what's open to learning from all different aspects and putting yourself through out of your comfort zone into different things just to get that bit further and to do what you're going to do. It's fascinating to hear. So I want to see you've done that, and it's great that you obviously achieved goal, tick box, but you don't stop there. So you look at then when does that? We alluded to it earlier about the DNA of starting. I'm going to run my own company. So even at American Express, was that then? Because you were there for about 6.5 years, right? About that sort of bit.
Approximately.
So, but during that time, you then did set up you set up Little Jasmine, right? So
absolutely, yeah. That's when it happened. I'll tell you, it was more of a reaction. I'm not gonna hide it. I think I've described that during my public speaking a few weeks back. I lost my job at American Express momentarily. 2008, 2009, big crisis, financial crisis. My entire team, the entire team within American Express, got redundant. I was able to secure another job a few months afterwards, but these couple of months, like, oh my God, I need to do something different. I need to do something more. It kind of reminded me a bit my urgency and panic back home in Greece, having to do something. So instincts kick in. My God, I need to, trust your instincts out there. They're lifesavers. Go with the flow. Gut feeling, absolutely. And do meditation, by the way. That helps a lot.
Let's touch on that meditation, because how long have you meditated for?
For years.
Really?
Especially during these 2 years that I was doing my MBA, pretty much on a weekly, daily basis at home, Buddhist center. I became a mitra, which is friend of the Buddhist center as well. I've kind of progressed into learning about meditation and learning about Buddhism as well. If anything, I would describe myself as as a Buddhist rather than a Christian, as grown up.
Wow. How long do you meditate for every day?
It can be from 5 minutes to up to half an hour, 40 minutes. It's a lifesaver. You connect with everything. You ground yourself. It's a different ball game altogether.
I'm only touching on this because I find it really fascinating. People have spoke to me on here about it, and you've got to meditate. And I've started this year, but I've never done it before. but really trying up. But I really struggle with it. But I'm still trying, because it's the same with anything in life. I do believe that it takes practice, right? It's not something that, I'm going to run a marathon. I've got to get up and train for that marathon, and I'm going to get up and run every day to get to that distance. And the same, my understanding and what I'm reading and learning about with meditation is it's just another muscle, and it's something you've got to practice. It's not something you just, all of a sudden I can meditate now and that's it. It's an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely. It is an ongoing process, and you know what? I mean, you might, I don't know, never have the perfect meditation, but just by sitting down and setting yourself up and doing it in a consistent manner, consistent basis, that changes you. Yeah. So, it's not just meditation, which brings a lot of benefits. It's the consistency and setting up yourself, on a daily, weekly basis in doing, as in everything in life, consistency, a key skill factor for success in life, I think.
I agree. It is. It's really strong, and I'm still sticking with it. It's one of them that I've just, when you just go, this is something I want to master, I want to understand. And like you said, I don't think maybe I'll ever master it. I don't think maybe anyone ever does. And I think I've just finished a book, Think Like a Monk, by Jay Shetty. I don't know if you've read it.
I think came across, yeah.
Really amazing book. But and he talks about that. Like, actually, you're probably never going to get to a point where you do exactly. But just being consistent and being like such a key message. I love it. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to say something about one of our sponsors, EMC Corporate Finance. Trust must be earned, especially in business. It goes both ways and takes time to build. That's why you need an advisor with a proven track record who understands its value and, more importantly, the value you place on your business. EMC Corporate Finance is built on a legacy of trust. For over 30 years, they've been advising and supporting entrepreneurs, guiding them through the challenges of private company ownership. Whether you're looking to raise investment, accelerate growth, or crystallise value with a profitable exit, the team are here to help. So if you're ready to take that next step, let EMC be your guide. For more information, go to www.emcltd.co.uk. Okay, back to the podcast. Sorry, that was a personal thing. I had to get in there, mate, and pick your brains about that. We're going to meditate.
It's a very important bit, I think, and it can bring lots of changes in your life just by going through this. It doesn't have to be in a Buddhist context, as you're describing as well. It's such a powerful mechanism, connecting with yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Amazing. Cool. So look, talk to me then about, obviously, so Little Jasmine,
yes.
Then that starts around, so this period you come out, you're in this couple of months in between, obviously another role, but this was the start, the spark.
That was the start, I think, right, resource-based view, let's put our business hats on, what can we do in order to move away from that dependency 9 to 5 and from our jobs? What can we do? What's the skill set? What are the resources that we have around us? I was well-versed in business, working for Amex for a few years now. My lovely missus knew how to do massage treatments and beauty treatments. She was a radio producer back home, by the way.
Right, okay.
And she took a year out and came to the UK and never left after that.
Yeah. You're a catch, mate.
Well, okay, I tried hard. I was the lucky one. One. And then we put things together and we started, let's call it Little Jasmine. And Little Jasmine was the name of her grandmother, like a nickname she had, and in respect and honor of her. And Thai people, my wife is from Thailand, by the way, very Buddhist, and that was one of the things that attracted me to her. She's one of the kindest and better people that I've met in my life in terms of ethics, in terms of drive. She's making me a better human being, just being with her by default, I think. So thank you for that, my lovely, if you're listening. But I'm so grateful for her. And then we came together with Little Jasmine, started doing friends and family in our living room. Hey, start making a bit of money there. And that one thing led to another, and it became quite a bit of a success. Started doing SEO, learning anything about SEO back in 2008, right? Yeah. So SEO just started emerging, and online presence and websites and all that. So we started doing really, really well. And then landlord found out about us, and he kicked us out of the house. And again, we use that as to catapult ourselves into our first business premises, and
Wow. And then what was that, 2008? So
yeah,
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. I can't believe it. Celebrating this year 15 years of Little Jasmine Therapies and Spa, obviously.
Yeah. That's incredible. And then, but then running that, obviously, and you still stayed at American Express for a bit of time.
I did.
After, didn't you? And then,
I did.
And then what was the decision to come out of American Express after 6.5 years to go full time and
we start hitting serious numbers.
Yeah.
We moved into bigger premises, a 3-story building, started doing really well. Yeah. And it didn't make any sense to hold on to my... Listen, I gave up something at that point in time, right? I gave my corporate self, career, whatever, but meditation kind of helped me. I mean, obviously the money as well, but that's not me, entirely. That's part of me. But you can move on and do other things. So, but it was pretty hard to give up that self, that perception of me doing really well in the corporate world, and I was doing really well within American Express. So I gave that up and fully committed to a life of doing businesses and entrepreneurship, I guess. Yeah.
Amazing. And then obviously, fast forward, I guess, to 2019 and launching Nostos as well. But I'd be keen to know, how did you find then, I guess, as a Greek man coming into Sussex and Brighton and launching a business here and then in the restaurant scene in Hove and stuff like that? But how has that been for you? Running a business within the Sussex and
within the community.
In the community.
I didn't connect really with the community until very recently. We were doing things in what I could describe as a silo, family orientated. Yes, doing businesses, but with very limited contacts and people. And, me, 7 months ago, I came to one of your big business breakfasts, get-togethers, and from that point onwards, I've decided that, hey, I'm going to come out and start talking to people more so than I did, and start connecting. I'm keen because it's been fascinating to see these last 7 months. Obviously, one, just a privilege to get to know you, but I guess just to see that you can tell you made a decision that day at that big business breakfast club, that you was there and you went, right, I'm going to integrate into this, mate. Because it's an amazing, for me, I look at it and I'm blown away. I love the community here, and I'm so passionate about it, and I feel, but I'm keen to someone who's run a business here longer than I have, and yet why only now have you decided to sort of, I guess, integrate into that community? I'm keen to know what it's been like over the last few years. I wasn't ready, I think. We were doing well enough, minding our own business in a sense. And I didn't feel that I was ready to connect for whatever reasons. I haven't really explored the question in detail, but I felt, doing well enough, more than well. Really, really, really good. So 3 premises, Little Jasmine, sky's the limit. We can expand now geographically, do all these things. So what's the point of coming out, concentrating in my own business, doing my own thing? But I was, I was really young. I mean, I feel that I'm getting into a stage in my life now that I feel more mature and ready to, I'll say, give back. I became a dad 8 years ago, and that process of becoming a father started steering, instincts and motives within me, and applying that within your family, and then, hey, actually, you can do it in a wider, within the wider community as well. So I think that was one of my key motivations. The other one was anger.
Really?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, I think I briefly spoke about it. Nostos, the other venture that we have in Brighton, is well, well, I'll speak about it.
Yeah.
I think the hospitality industry in Brighton, I'm not sure if it's everywhere else, it's very silent. People are working within their businesses, as I was doing, a few years back. They're not the most collaborative bunch, I guess. And I was feeling left out. I was feeling that we're not getting the recognition, respect that we deserve in terms of the food that we're making and the presence that we have in Brighton. And I said, right, if I can't get through the traditional structures of whatever hospitality looks like in Brighton, I will do it my way. Yeah. So I came out and I started talking to people. One thing led to another. It was, I never looked back.
Love it. I love that. And there's such a theme here, because I want to touch on as well, because there's not just Little Jasmine and Nostos, is the other businesses as well.
Sure.
And I want to touch on them as well, but how you come to those, because one of the things I found so fascinating the first time I spoke to you was that in business we often face challenges and issues and problems and stuff like that. What you tend to do is find that solution, which as an entrepreneur we need to, but you find a solution and then start a business on the back of that solution, which is incredible. So tell me a little bit, tell the listeners a little bit about that.
It's really a resource-based view, things that I've, as I said, I educate myself and I love learning. And the mindset plays a big part, and every problem is an opportunity as well. So when you start processing things in life with that point of view, you can see things. You start seeing things. You start seeing patterns. You start seeing opportunities. And a lot of the problems do present an opportunity as well. So you've got to be
open-minded to see them opportunities.
Mindset, absolutely. I don't know, a bit of meditation, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The MBA, obviously, having that acumen on a business perspective, understanding what other people are doing, which a lot of people are, I'm doing well. I don't have to look for other paradigms, other people, what you're doing with your guests, learning from them, which is a very valid and very wise vehicle for learning and involving yourself as well. Is key. Not a lot of people are doing it. I'm doing well. I don't need anyone to tell me or show me. We're learning every day. People have done it before us and they will do it after us. We're part of a chain. We don't have a unique or thought, everything has been said or done or thought about in one way or another. So we just need to look at patterns, I think, look at other for these signs. So opportunities and problems are part of the same equation, just looking at it from a different angle, really.
Yeah, sure. So to share with them, this is a little bit about because obviously the property side of it and for staff and stuff like that, you created a business out of that as well.
Yeah, that's it. 2020, 2019, we start having serious problems with recruitment. Brexit hit us in 2016. That was a major blow because we were bringing people from abroad, talented individuals, spa therapists. Apart from looking at developing homegrown talent, Brighton is a small place, so you have to compete with London. London, wages are that high, so you can't really bring people from London that easily. So you're looking at other parts of the UK or outside Europe, the rest of Europe predominantly prior to Brexit, and the rest of the world after that. But one of the key things that we're finding is people are coming to Brighton and they've got nowhere to stay. Such a difficult market finding accommodation, very expensive as well. So it becomes a bit of an issue. So we're doing all the legwork, bringing in people, and then they hit Brighton, they got nowhere to stay, satisfaction, and it doesn't work. So you have to complete the chain. You have to complete the model. Therefore, we need to step in. Thank God we have the resources. So we start buying up properties, offering these properties back to our therapists, people, and therefore creating a virtuous circle of them being happy back at work, staying with us longer, and creating a competitive advantage against our competitors as well, right? Yeah, because nobody else is doing that.
Love that. And listen, there's one thing I do want to touch on as well with you. Like, there's some people who have got one school of thought that will say run a business and focus on that, and give your attention to that one business, and that make that a success, and that's what you need to do. There's other people that will say, well, I can run a business, but I will take that method and I will run up multiple businesses, because then there's multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Your school of thought, I'm assuming, is on the right hand. So where multiple streams of income is the way to do things, as you have done.
I don't see income or streams of income. I mean, the way I'm perceiving this is a portfolio approach, hedging risks, really. From a risk perspective. So it's not just the income. Obviously, income comes along as well. Different businesses, but it's a systemic view of the environment. And I've done a lot of reading and learning about systems and how they operate, how they work, from ecosystems all the way to business systems to, society systems, all sort of systems. And running one thing, it's very siloed, it doesn't give you visibility on the wider environment, I think. Yes, focusing, you might be doing well, but how much more effective when you can leverage things in this part of the system that helps that part of the system, and you have better control over how the whole thing works. Absolutely. You might not be focusing on, let's say, the day spa business, but hey, check it out. Day spa business benefits from the property business. The day spa business also benefits from the hospitality business, because now we're catering and we're creating services with both businesses together, something that we wouldn't be able to do. Little Jasmine have opened the doors with 20,000 customers at this point in time that we're leveraging in the hospitality industry. So check out all these benefits that are deriving from different parts of the equation, different parts of the system. So yes, I give it to the experts and my mentor as well. One of my mentors is telling me, you're spinning too many plates. But it's such a monolithic view of the environment, of reality in general. I think reality is made up of different variables. And by leveraging all these variables, or working on these variables, you get better results. Might not be the most efficient, you grow the business, to 100 business premises, whatever. Little Jasmine, I think, has that capacity. But the system and the way we're playing with the variables of the system right now, it provides a very virtuous circle of business and adding value, so on and so forth. I'm not sure if you're getting it.
100%. 100%.
But it's such a systemic view, guys. Look it up.
100%. I'll read, because I obviously buy into it, because I'm similar to you. I run a few different things, yes. and so I do believe that. I've spoke to a few people who have gone, you need to just concentrate on one thing. I look at something like, I go, okay, I had firm balls. When I just had firm balls, I grew that to was doing okay. And then when I took over SBT and the other stuff, then firm balls sort of stayed where it is. And you go, actually, if I was just focusing, could I have grown that more? Could I have done that? But I think for me, the portfolio approach works in the sense of, like you said, they can all feed into each other. What I'm, even from since me and you first spoke, trying to get my head around, I'm trying to get better systems in place for me. So this becomes a whole ecosystem where everything sort of feeds into each other. What does that look like? What does that system look like as a whole? And I do think that's something so important for listeners to take away, because there are some, I'm sure, out there that will be going, I've got my business, I want to grow that, and that's sometimes a good route to go down if that's what right for you. But the portfolio, because it does lend itself, actually, the portfolio of businesses, because if you have got that, potentially when things go slightly wrong, maybe let's chuck a pandemic into the mix, for example. When you look at that, you go, actually, what does that? This might not be doing great, but this is doing okay, and that can help that for now until we focus on how we.
I totally agree. And it's also a risk perspective in managing risk in that way as well. Any stockbroker will tell you exactly that. Is you have a portfolio of stocks. Some of them do better, some of them do worse. But check this out, right? You don't have to build the system yourself. You can connect to other systems. You and me. Meeting up, working together, doing things together. This is enhancing our system, making a bigger system that we can leverage, both of us, for both of our benefit. So collaborations and working with other people that enhance your system makes it a wiser system, more effective system as well.
I 100% agree. And look, obviously, as we both know, we both share the whole thing. This is why I'm interested to hear about the hospitality industry and obviously the sort of anger that you felt from that, because my biggest thing is collaboration. I love collaborating with people, and as a community I collaborate with other member organisations and try and bring people together, and that's what I'm about. So when I spoke to you and you alluded to the fact that it's not like that within the hospitality industry, what is the why is that, do you feel? Why is there that process? Because of they just want to protect, I'll collaborate, I'm just not going to protect my business, or what do you think?
It goes back to the same word that I've used right at the beginning, mindset.
Really?
It's people running businesses, not businesses running people. So it's the people behind the business.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I love that. People by people, right?
Absolutely.
That's the key. Okay. Well, look, I want to. We're talking about challenges and portfolios of business and trying to de-risk and stuff like that, but listening to your story and resilience and all that comes with that, I can't not talk to you about, obviously, within the hospitality industry, you've got this portfolio of business all related to hospitality. What goes through your head March 2020 when the pandemic hits?
Sure, yeah.
Talk to me about your mindset then.
Yeah.
Like, how does that?
I'll tell you my first reaction. I'm a human being. Panic.
Really,
Panic. You know, I've never come across a scenario such as this one. It's the doomsday.
Yeah. Who had one? No one had that in their business plan, did they?
Absolutely. No one had a business plan. But panic gave way to more logical and thorough and thinking and gut feeling. You know, but what does that tell you about the environment and how you can leverage that? What are the moves? What are the shakes? What do you need to do in order to survive this? First of all, survive this. First of all, what is it? What are we facing here?
Yeah. Sure.
Because information
what is the problem? What is the
exactly? What is the situation? What is the problem? Because nobody could define the problem. I mean, yeah, we kind of shut down, and the government started saying X, Y, and Z. How long will this last? So it was a lot of information missing from this. So you just knew what was happening, which is we need to close down the businesses. We can't trade, therefore. So you go into panic mode, and then panic recedes, and then you start planning, and all right, what do I do with my I've got 5-6 business premises. I need to speak to the landlords. What is the government doing about this? So a systemic thinking about the environment and what are the variables in this new game of sorts, right? And how you can leverage all that. Landlords was one thing, make deals, reduce the rent, zero the rent if possible. Do you have any legal coverage for that or not? Apply to their emotions and logical thinking. If I'm out of business, you're out of business. Therefore, we're in a system together. Therefore, you need to help me, help you in a sense, right? Leverage that. And we've done some great deals during that period of time. Obviously, that kind of work. Sure. So go about it and thinking about the variables of the system and how you can leverage that to be able, first of all, survive. And then, if there is an opportunity, thrive. And we did. Wow. We did. There's a lot of things we've done. I mean, connecting with the community, creating new products, new services, testing things out, things that we wouldn't have normally have tested in a business as usual environment. Sure. So yes, it was a terrible situation, but life is harsh.
Because I still remember, because obviously I follow you guys since you come to Brighton. I followed since you launched Nostos, especially being a foodie. I followed you guys on Instagram, and I was like, and you straight away was just so active within the community and doing so much with it within the community and adapting and pivoting the business. And what can we do? But we can't let people come into the restaurant and sit and eat. So what can we do? And how do we get through that? And it was. That again, back to that mindset, isn't it? And doing that, but like you said, it's interesting because obviously like everyone on the planet, I guess, was panic is the first thing, isn't it? And you've just got to, but believing that there is a system there is a solution to a problem, and you go out there. But But and obviously, look, and you're still here. How many unfortunate restaurants obviously didn't survive, salons, and our place just didn't survive. It's and tragic that did happen. But actually, just knowing that from your point of view, looking at the problem and going, what is the solution, and how do I get around that?
Absolutely, it's goes back to learning. How fast you learn, how fast you evolve and you adapt. And a lot of people are saying, a lot of business gurus or whatever, books, it's the only true sustainable competitive advantage, how quickly you learn, how quickly you evolve, from Darwin all the way down to emotional evolution. So it's how you react and how quickly you can get the learnings from that environment or system and use them and leverage them. Yeah.
What's interesting as well, listening to your story over the whole period and the different ups and downs and different challenges that you have faced, that so much of it, like I said, I asked you at the beginning to paint a picture of the learnings from your upbringing that puts the person who sits in front of me today, and you can tell from that 12-year-old boy, or even going back to when your parents first split up at 9, and that period of learning for you then, how that's put you in the position to deal with these situations, to deal with what happened in Greece, to deal with when you lose your job in American Express, to deal with the pandemic and deal with all them things in between as well, back to learning from a young age.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating, so fascinating. The one thing I do want to touch on as well is the spinning the plates as we do, and we've both obviously got a young family as well. Talk to me about work-life balance. How do you keep the plates spinning and maintain that? Is there such thing as work-life balance?
Listen, I mean, work, I don't see it as work, really. I mean, for me, is, I'm immensely enjoying what I'm doing. So, there are challenges, don't get me wrong, things that, put, emotionally +1 or -1. Yeah, I can definitely attach values to all that.
Sure.
But overall, any day of the week, you ask me, are you enjoying what you do? I love it. I try to integrate both my family and we fairly integrated in terms of and our work as well. Work. Sure. Let's call it work. I call it art. We try to be very artistic in what we do, add value to our community. What we do and how we do it. So I try to integrate things. I mean, for example, I've been driving my son to work today. I'm asking him about investments and what are good investments and what are bad investments.
Love that.
All right, buying a Lamborghini, is that a good investment or a bad investment? This is my acid test to my son. He goes to Brighton College, by the way. A lot of math, a lot of English. But I'm trying to educate him financially, by the way. Back to your question, though. I'm fairly lucky to be able to be flexible at work. A lot of the work has been done on the phone or over phone calls and all that. I do have an amazing management team in place.
Yeah, sure.
So I've got the right people, I think, at the right positions to be able to manage. And I'm trying to educate and develop my management team as well, so they can take more. So I can push down work that they can execute effectively, efficiently. So I can deal with the more strategic side of things. So I do have a system, again, of people in place to be able to do that. My wife is also my partner in some of the businesses, therefore she's part of that realm and reality. But I do make time for my boy, spend together, teach him, obviously, not only investments, but but also English and math and other things that we're doing as well. I hear a lot about that sort of work-life balance. I think we do have a balance. I don't see any negative points arising from the way we're running things at this point in time. Further down the line, maybe, but I think it's a fairly well balanced equation. Love my family. I'm a family man. I mean, Greeks, Mediterranean people in general, put a high emphasis and value on family. We're coming together with the rest of my family. My brothers, my sisters are here. Their families are here. We're getting together almost every week, to do things. So that I think that points into a fairly good balance between the work and everything else. Yeah.
And I'm assuming with especially as you practice meditation and stuff like that, you're able to because as entrepreneurs, business owners tend to find it quite difficult to switch off when you've got so many things going on and so many plates. But hence, I guess that's back to the meditation side of it. Why that's so important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that helps a lot. To be able to compartmentalize. Ooh, I said it.
I like it.
I was thinking about that. That kind of word. And because of the different little boxes that I have to juggle, it's so easy for me to right. You might have 20 problems, but you can go into it and do your deeds, whatever, take an action on that, switch off, go into the other one. So I'm able to use my mind in a sense in that capacity. I don't stay with a problem for too long. I switch off and onto another problem or another situation. I deal with it when I have to. I don't know how that sounds, but I'm able to switch off and on. As per request, as per my the requirements.
Got to be, because actually the key to
longevity.
But you're right. Actually, but you're right. The key is actually my main thing I'm working on myself. This year is being present.
Yes.
And how you've described it and what I've taken from what you've said is actually I'm able to switch on and off.
Yes.
Based on work, because whatever I'm in at that moment, I'm present in. That for me is the key. That's where my vision, I guess, gets a bit blurred on the sense that I'm there, but I'm not really there. I've got to be, and I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to learn more at that to go. Whatever I'm in, I'm there 100%. Kids, wife, work, podcast, whatever it is I'm doing at that time, that's where I am 100%.
I hear what you're saying. It takes developing perspective and also developing. Do you know what I mean? A problem might feel and sound and look like this is your biggest challenge in the world, but you know what? 3 days after that, it's not the same, is it? So if you apply that onto that when you're dealing with a problem itself at that point in time, it becomes much smaller. Do you know what? In 3 days, you're not going to even remember what you're dealing with. So applying that perspective onto the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that you're having in front of you makes it a lot smaller and puts it in its rightful position and place. Therefore, you can switch on and off. At least that's the way I'm doing it. Oh my God, that guy's quitting. But you know what? You've been there before. You've done it before. You know the steps. Therefore, why worry more than you should? Deal with the next problem. Deal with something else. Come back to it when you need to. You know the steps. You know the process. That's why I said panic on the thing. We never done a lockdown before.
Let's hope we never do one again as well.
Exactly.
We're there with that. Mate, incredible story. And look, the one thing obviously I'd always talk about and what's developed from this podcast the most, I guess, is, as we sort of a little bit alluded to earlier when you was talking about around definition of success and what that looks like to people. And I'm keen just to for you at different stages, I guess, hitting those targets, achievements, level of success, where looking at where you've been, where you are now, where you're going, what's your definition of success? How do you define it?
Such a hard question. Sam. Definition of success. Being content in the moment, I think. Feeling good about yourself, within the moment. I think that because yesterday was yesterday, the future will be future, never happen. But now, right now, me and you being here, talking, success. I'm content. I'm happy being here. I'm doing this. I'm learning something. Double the joy. I am connecting with you. Triple the joy. I am trying to derive this from every moment in my life. That's what success looks like. enable your mind and yourself to be able to withdraw every ounce of whatever is happening within the moment and just, hold on to it. So that's success for me. Goals and things come and go, they're so fleeting, who's going to remember? But feeling every moment in your life and feeling alive and, feeling that success or whatever you want to call it, that lifeness, I think that's the most important bit. Every moment in your life. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying I'm doing it, but I'm striving for that. I'm aspiring to have all these moments connecting my life. Because at the end of the day, these are the moments we're going to be remembering, mate, yeah? So we're not going to say, hey, I worked for American Express, or I've done my MBA, or I've done 11 businesses. I mean, who gives a shit? It's all about, and the work that you do in the community as well. But, definitely, it's in the moment. It's in the moment. The secret is in the moment.
I love that so much. And like I say, for me, this last couple of years especially, I'm still on that journey of this self-discovery and trying to learn more about me. But I'm so passionate about trying to, because that what I've learned is we often measure people's success, especially within the business community, based on that financial.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how successful businesses measure. They turn over, make that amount of profit. Wow, that's a really successful person, individual business. Actually, and I think that's the narrative that society has programmed us to believe. Whereas how you've just described it, if all of us, what an amazing world to live in, if actually everyone's success was based more around that process, around the people that we surround ourselves with, that everyone just being in the moment and appreciating that, and not jumping on that hamster wheel every single day. And I'm speaking to myself in this sense as well, jumping on that, because I still do it, and I'm still running, and you're still going, and actually I just need to be more, let's just be present and appreciate where we are right at this second, right at this moment. And I'm definitely I'm on the journey to
absolutely
it, I'm on the journey to
appreciation is a totally valid exercise, Sam, that we all need to be doing every day, mate. Every day. Grateful appreciation is, we live in the Western world, we live in Brighton, we're on the top, 5% of, people are suffering left, right and center, we should be so appreciative, where we are right now, because I lived in different countries, Germany for a bit as well, Western world, but I've seen Thailand, we've done charities in Thailand, I've seen, a couple of months back, we were doing orphanages and all that. Mate, we're so lucky. Yeah. We are so lucky. It's crazy. We should be waking up every day and, living appreciation of what we're going through and what we have around us. So once you do that, you're happy. By default, you're happy. Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah. Look, I look at it today, and I'm 100%. I've even started to look at, even after reading that book, starting to look at doing a gratitude diary. And I got up today. I went and had a swim in the sea, first thing. I went and watched my son in his assembly at thinking, and now I'm having an amazing conversation with a good friend. Life's good, though. You know what I mean? I feel very, very, very appreciative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Mate, we're coming towards the end. Tell me, what does the future hold for Kyriakos?
No idea. We talked about trajectories right at the beginning. I can see myself being involved more with the community, giving back. I think that's becoming quite a big theme in my life. More and more, I want to be able to give back my knowledge, younger generation as well, back to the community. We are involved in a lot of charities through my businesses and personally as well. We've done some hands-on charity back in Thailand, and that kind of blew my mind away. That changed my perspective in the world and what's important and what we need to do, and you know what, acquiring assets and capabilities and skills just for the sake of it, what's the point? What's the point? You need to be able to relate, to give this back to the community somehow, enhance your community, make society move, or our community move forward a small step. I think that's what we're here to do. human species in general. We're all about evolution and evolving and all that. So we need to be doing that. So what's in the future? I mean, continue learning. I say that without any doubt. Building businesses, adding value to my community. I would love to continue doing that in one way or another. Either through the medium of businesses or other mediums. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be a positive force within my community, my wider environment, and my family as well. So that's what and becoming a better person. Becoming a better person. I mean, it's growing, continue growing is a key theme in my life. And, through learning, it's growing, learning. So I think this is it. Continue evolving my mindset because everything else can change. I mean, it's the mindset that's driving you forward, I think. So continue developing my mindset. I'm committed to that. So that's where my future lies. Continue developing my mindset.
Amazing. Well, look, as regards to a positive impact on the community, you're certainly having that, my friend. And you, like, for me as a person, you're certainly an inspiration to me. And listening to your story and your journey, and really actually getting to know you as a person over the last few months has been a real joy. And mate, thank you so much for coming on and
thank you.
and sharing your story, and so many brilliant takeaways for the people for the listeners to take away. We will, as always, finish off with our quick fire questions though, so I'm going to throw these ones at you. So
thank you.
Who is the person you would most like to say sorry to but haven't?
Yeah, I think I've wronged a lot of people. I mean, obviously throughout my life, you go through, you can't be, perfect for sure. I think I was man enough or, big enough to say my sorries and my apologies to the people that I had to. I don't think I've left anyone there. I have been upset with people that done things to me. And I should apologize to them because I made it a bigger thing than it should have been. So that's really my only. But if I do have the opportunity to see these people, I would express that, hey, I'm not there. I'm not an angry young man anymore. I apologize, for reacting in such a way, for doing something back to me. So I'm there. But I think I've apologized to people that I have to. I don't have any qualms about apologizing. I think it's a very valid exercise.
And that's such an important thing, actually. Just back to the whole thing, being in the moment where you are right now, being able to have a conversation with someone, not being frightened of having that conversation, not letting that fear of having that conversation, what's that reaction going to be, being able to have that, and that's being brave.
Absolutely. That's holding you back in terms of learning and development as well, right? Course, so it will be counterintuitive in my whole develop yourself on mindset. So absolutely get into these difficult situations, have these discussions, do apologize when you need to apologize. And absolutely.
Love that. If you had to choose one, what piece of advice would you like the listeners to take away from our conversation today?
Wow.
There's been many to take away, mate, but choose one. If there's one, what would it be?
Wow. Be kind to yourselves. Listen to yourself.
Brilliant. If you could go back to one point in your life and change it, what would it be? What would you change?
None. Absolutely not. Every little thing is bringing me to this point in this room talking to you, and my summary has been, it's a very valid and beautiful moment that we're going through here. So even a little thing, I would have changed my trajectory, probably in the next room with someone else. So I would have invalidated, today's day, if I chose to change a moment in my life. So absolutely nothing. I love it.
Brilliant. Well, brilliant answer, mate. Final one before we wrap up. Your one rule for living a fulfilled life.
Be kind. Kindness carries the day. Kindness will make you happy. Kindness is to yourself, first and foremost. Environment, people around you, be kind. Metta bhavana, the Buddhists say. Be kind. Yeah.
Amazing. Mate, well, brilliant way to wrap up. It's been, as I knew it would be, an absolutely fascinating conversation, and so many amazing things to take away. I'm so grateful for your time, my friend. And listen, it's going to be great getting to know you even more over the next few months, and more things we're going to do together. The Big Fat Greek Club. Just going to chuck that one in there. Coming soon.
Absolutely.
And more, I'm sure. So, mate, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for the hospitality. Thank you for the positive mindset. Thank you for giving me a platform to share some of my beliefs, my story, my insights into life. You're a lovely human being. I want to get to know more of you. And we will get the opportunity to do that.
Sure. Over some great food at Nostos.
Over some great food. Always food.
Always. And that, as they say, sir, is a wrap.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is the County Business Talks podcast, produced by H2 Productions.